Again, because today's ceremony is considered an outdoor event, ladies and gentlemen, our military members in the audience are asked to please wear your covers and render salutes for musical honors and the singing of our national anthem. Our civilian guests are invited to stand with our military members at appropriate times throughout the ceremony. I am Lieutenant Colonel Jim Roth, and on behalf of Brigadier General Boris Armstrong, Chief of Staff for the South Carolina Air National Guard, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to McEntire this morning and to the change of command ceremony for the 169th Fighter Wing. General Armstrong will preside as Colonel Akshai Gandhi relinquishes command of the 169th Fighter Wing and Colonel Quaid Quadri assumes command. Before going any further, however, we would like to acknowledge that today also marks a solemn day for our country. On this date, 20 years ago, our nation obviously suffered a horrific terror attack. And so throughout the morning, McEntire will be observing moments of silence at key times to mark the tragic events that occurred that morning. One of those moments will soon be upon us at 9:03, so we're going to pause for just a couple minutes and we'll get started after that. It's also possible that a second and maybe even a third moment of silence will occur toward the end of the ceremony, depending on how long certain people talk. We would like to thank you, obviously, for your patience and understanding and for joining us in honoring this solemn occasion. We'll get started just shortly. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we would like to invite everyone to please stand for the arrival of the official party, the playing of ruffles and flourishes, and remain standing for the singing of our national anthem and this morning's invocation.
say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please pause with me as I pray. Gracious God, this morning I offer these words of gratefulness for the legacy of the Swamp Fox and promising future this change of command for the 169th Fighter Wing represents. Just as Colonel Gandhi passes on the guidon to Colonel Quadri, the distinctive story of the South Carolina Swamp Fox heritage continues. Each one gathered here today is a testimony and contributor to the excellence in sacrificial service. This mission, summed up in our motto, Semper Primus, always first, empowers us to soar on wings of eagles, to run and not grow weary, to walk and not be faint. Thank you for the leadership of Colonel Gandhi, which help us to be mindful, to seek understanding, and bring a fresh perspective and passion for serving and caring for the airmen of McEntire wholeheartedly. Bring a return blessing to Mary and Amelia, who faithfully and sacrificially served with him. And to the new wing commander, Colonel Quadri, I ask he and his family, Jennifer, Carson, and Madeline, have perseverance and support necessary for this new position of command, as the 169th Fighter Wing perseveres through times that will test our abilities and our opportunities to shine. May Colonel Quadri find the undergirding to ride the wave of life and leadership with stamina and excellence. And finally, as we pause today to remember the lives lost in 9/11 attack and those who responded in the critical hours and following, may we dedicate ourselves to set wrongs right, that in the appointed time default to take courage and persevere amidst attack. Please bless the families who lost loved ones during this fight on terrorism and all those serving in our armed forces, as well as our first responders. And may the Swamp Fox family in service with the South Carolina National Guard under the leadership of this great state continue to be upheld with love and support. Godspeed. In your holy name, amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Pittman. And ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for Sergeant Zeus's rendition of the national anthem? You may be seated. Nicole, I had them clap and then sit so you can say you got a standing ovation. Ladies and gentlemen, the change of command ceremony you are going to witness today is a military tradition deeply rooted in history, and it dates back to the time of the Roman legions. In that period, military organizations developed unique flags that were emblazoned with symbolic colors and designs. When warriors followed their leaders into battle, they kept sight of those flags, and if their banners still waved after the conflict, it was a sign that their unit had not tasted defeat on the field of battle. With respect For this position of importance, flags since have been incorporated into change of command ceremonies. Organizational banners have been exchanged in public so all might see and understand that the one who holds the flag is the unchallenged leader. Our modern-day ceremony is principally symbolic, yet it still indicates to all the authority of the incoming commander. The outgoing commander surrenders the flag and announces, "Sir, I relinquish command." The flag is then passed to the new commander, who proclaims, "Sir, I assume command." The gesture is accomplished in front of the unit, so all can witness their new leader's assumption of his dutiful position. This symbolic tradition has survived throughout military history and will serve as the key component of this morning's ceremony. At this time, we'd like to welcome and recognize some of our distinguished guests. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Of course, our official party this morning includes Brigadier General Armstrong, Colonel Gandhi, Colonel Quadri, and our State Command Chief, Isaac Carr. We also welcome Colonel Gandhi's wife, Dr. Mary Gandhi, and their daughter, Amelia. Colonel Quadri's family, his wife, Jennifer, and their children, Carson and Madeline, and his mother, Marcy. Dr. Kurt Vogel, Director for Space Architectures, National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Representing U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, Mr. William Smith is with us this morning. Representing U.S. Senator Tim Scott, Mr. Al Jenkins, and Miss Brianna Bateman. The Honorable Joe Wilson, United States Congressman, is with us this morning. Representing Congressman William Timmons, Mr. Mike Stahl. Representing Congressman Jim Clyburn, Mr. Larry Ward. Representing Congressman Tom Rice, Mr. Tom Keegan, and Mr. Grady Austin. The Honorable Dr. Jermaine Johnson, South Carolina District 80 Representative, and the Honorable Chaquise Newton, Richland County District 11 Councilwoman. We also are pleased to welcome Lieutenant General Kirk Pierce, Commander 1st Air Force, Major General Mike Krzyzewski, Commander 15th Air Force, and Chief Master Sergeant Sonia Lee, 15th Air Force Command Chief, Lieutenant General Retired Scott Williams, former Commander 1st Air Force, and his wife, Diana, are with us here today. Major General Retired Walter Sams and his wife, Pam. From Joint Force Headquarters, we welcome Brigadier General Scott Bridgers, the Assistant Adjutant General for Air, Brigadier General Retired Jim Chow, Brigadier General Retired Russ Rushi, and Brigadier General Retired Scott Lamb. Chief Master Sergeant Camille Caldwell, our Command Senior Enlisted Leader, Colonel Mike Duncan, Director of Staff for Air, Chief Master Sergeant Isaac Carr, I've already introduced, and from the 169th Fighter Wing, Chief Peterson and his wife Tracy are with us this morning. From the 20th Fighter Wing, Colonel Kevin Highcock, Vice Wing Commander, and Chief Master Sergeant Steve Senov, Command Chief. And from the 495th Fighter Group, Colonel Mark Massaro, Commander. We also welcome all other friends, family, senior leaders, general officers, colonels, chiefs, retirees, and members of the South Carolina Air National Guard. At this time, it is my honor to introduce this morning's presiding officer, ladies and gentlemen, Brigadier General Boris Armstrong.
Good morning. It's a nice day for this ceremony. It's certainly my privilege to be able to preside over the ceremony for such a great organization and two legendary Swamp Fox. Friends and family, distinguished guests, welcome to McEntire. This is truly a special place for me and for these officers next to me, and the leadership of this organization is one that we all cherish. Our TAG, Major General Van McCarty, sends his regrets. He's downtown participating in the events associated with the anniversary of 9/11. It's a nice turnout today. In the famous words, or now famous words, of former Wing Commander Puff Hudson, I'll be brief. 30 minutes max, right? He also said when he took command that from General Williams But he brought his own shoes, and he would fill those shoes. And I wondered if you brought your own shoes, Phil. We'll thank our families first. Mary, Amelia, love you guys. I'm so glad we get to keep you for a little bit longer as Abu moves up to the headquarters with us. Amelia, you're one of my favorites. I wish you all the best in college, Colorado, wherever you choose. Jen, it's nice to have you back. I know DC is home, but I think this will be a nice adventure for you and the kids, and I hope you really enjoy it. I know it's going to go by fast, so welcome. To my fellow Swamp Fox, thanks for all you do. The legend of Swamp Fox is yours, and I appreciate how you continued that. And most importantly, the last 3 years, how you've rallied around friends and family and loved ones and yourselves, really, as unfortunately we've lost some of our own. It's inspiring, and I want to thank you for that. Just looking at these officers here, it's really proof that India and Pakistan can coexist. Is it not? It's really encouraging. I'll say a few words about Abu. I thought about his little over 3 years as commander. How could I characterize it? The key word I take away is development. He developed the infrastructure of the base. He set us on course for the future. He's developed the people. He's developed the leadership. And he's developed the culture. He cares about the culture. And he's done so much to further that. And I really appreciate that about his time. Meanwhile, Swamp Fox have been doing amazing things. I've got a whole page of things. Deployments, 2 combat deployments. You've been from Sweden to Colombia, South America. CE's been all over the place. So many things, domestic operations. It's amazing. It's a little fatiguing just reading all the things that you guys have been doing, and such a great job. Appreciate that. So goes the leadership, so goes the organization. This list of accomplishments for the last 3 years is testimony to the great job that Abu has done. In the wing commander position, you learn to delegate or drown, and Abu certainly did that with one minor exception. I have to poke fun a little bit. He delegates effectively, but when it comes to the keyboard and mouse, he has a little bit of difficulty there. If you ever seen Abu watch somebody less capable with the Microsoft Office, like all of us are, you can see the look of distress in the body language as he struggles to control himself and not take over. And he's a lot more polite about it now. He'll say, "Do you mind if I help?" Whereas back in the squadron days, he would say, "Move." It's all about growing, isn't it? Last year and a half, really, I think, punctuated your time as the wing commander. We've had so many things, crazy things happening outside, so many changes in policy and noise and distractions that could have interfered with what we were doing on the base. And I just pictured Abu like a traffic cop at the base, making sure none of those things affected you. And he filtered out the noise, he smoothed the bumps, and you guys were really able to function as normally as you possibly could. And I think that's really a testament to your leadership and your approach, which I so value. Cletus and I were just amazed at how good of a job you did with that, and we really appreciate that. So, from all of us, thank you for that. So Q came to the S.C.A.N.G. Actually from active duty as a student, if you will. Back in 2006, we were taking in others from other bases, I think Spangdahlem and Misawa primarily. We would do guest upgrades for like flight lead upgrade and instructor pilot upgrade. And so Q came out for an instructor pilot upgrade from Spangdahlem. And of course, he did a fantastic job. He's an incredible pilot, and he's such a voracious learner, you know, just a sponge, and really enjoyed having him as a student. So in 2008, when he was able to separate from active duty and wanted to come to the S.C.A.N.G., it was easy choice to pick him up. And Q did what he does. He started off part-time. He's working at BGI and part-time here in the squadron, and he made himself indispensable. And because of that, it was easy to offer him a full-time job. And then, especially in the 2010-2012 time frame, as I was ops officer and squadron commander, I just started leaning on him. You know, if you want to get something done, you give it to somebody who's busy. And that's Q. He's always busy. And the amount of I guess, joy he had for the work, instructing, and being part of the squadron and working in weapons was outstanding. And that's why I leaned on him. It was easy to do, and I think he really enjoyed it. I know I did. So, I guess it was in 2016, he goes up to NGB just for a development tour. He was supposed to come back. And in fact, we expected him to come back. And they saw in him what we did, and he made himself indispensable up there. And so 2 or 3 years turned into more. And it's really encouraging because they identified him as a future leader. And I think that's fantastic. It's our loss to some degree, but here we are. We get him back. And I don't know, things happen for a reason. I feel like they do because the timing is so perfect for him. What he's seen the future really is what he's seen. And we face some significant challenges. And that's why I'm so grateful to have him back, because with his experience and his perspective, he's the perfect guy to take over this fighter wing. I really believe that. So, with that, I think Q will need help with one thing. A lot of time on the staff can have its effects. Not all of them are necessarily positive. He has what I'll call a speech impediment, something we might refer to as staff speak, right? So this is where it's pretty common to people on the staff. It's finding new ways to use words and phraseology and make it confusing for everybody but your fellow staff members. And so I was thinking, well, we can help you with that. There's at least a whole bunch of guys in green suits who can use some sarcasm and ridicule to try to usher that out of your vocabulary. So I look forward to that. So Q, I just want to say I like your style. I always have. And I really think the members of this fighter wing will too. I say, let's get this party started. You ready? Thank you.
Thank you, General Armstrong. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, 169th Fighter Wing, Colonel Gandhi.
Congressman Wilson, community leaders, generals, esteemed members of our great community, friends and family from near and from far. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of our wing change of command. It's a truly remarkable organization, and thank you for being here. And with the example of our Aussie allies, all protocols are observed. These events do not come together easily. Many of our airmen have worked tirelessly for some time to make this happen. Folks, everything looks great. You picked even a perfect, beautiful day in South Carolina for. We also must remember the significance that this day has 20 years ago. The world as we knew it was changed. Never forget and always honor the memories of our absent friends. And also remember the many folks that we have amongst us that bear both the visible and invisible scars of battle. I'm going to lead off with thanking my beautiful wife, Mary, and our amazing daughter, Amelia. You cannot successfully embark on an Air Force career without support of your family. You certainly can't command without that. Mary, Amelia, you have sacrificed so much as I've attended to my duties here as a Swamp Fox Wing Commander. You've always been there to support me, and I cannot adequately express how much I love and appreciate both of you. I have a little something for you both, but we're going to wait until tomorrow for that. You make me the luckiest man alive. You are my world. Airmen of the 169th Fighter Wing, thank you for everything you do every day. The wing has had a great many successes over the past few years. From whaling on ISIS, defending America's interests across the globe, crushing every inspection, your accomplishments are unprecedented. With you leading the way, my job was easy. At home, whether it was a hurricane, domestic unrest, pandemic, nothing stopped the Swamp Foxes. While we took appropriate measures to protect our force, you knew that we could not simply hide underneath a rock. You knew we had a job to do, and you made sure that we were semper in mission, always on mission. You knew that the enemy was watching. And what they saw was Swamp Fox Airmen generating lethal combat power to kick their butts, while simultaneously taking care of our community in times of great need. Whether deployed or at home, you have stepped out and faced danger in service of causes greater than yourselves. I also need to thank your families. While most of them do not wear the uniform, many do, but most of them do not. Nevertheless, they serve and sacrifice at your side. They allow you to do what you do, just as my family allows me to do what I do. When on mission, we have the luxury of the camaraderie of our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, while our families hold down the fort at home, and that seems to be always when something goes sideways. Please go home today and thank your families on my behalf for their service to our great state and nation. In this job, I've been privileged to represent us in many different places. It is truly remarkable how the Swamp Fox brand is so widely recognized and revered. It usually involves someone learning that I'm a Swamp Fox, followed by an unsolicited story of something amazing that you have done for that person or for their organization. You are respected far and wide. Jen, Carson, Maddie, welcome home. We're thrilled to have you back in South Carolina. Q, you're inheriting a well-oiled machine. I'm confident that you will take the legend of the Swamp Fox to new heights. There will be opportunities and challenges. Trust in the fact that the Swamp Fox team will step up to the plate and excel. Swamp Fox, as your next wing commander, comes back to us after doing some amazing work at the national level. You will be able to leverage his insights to grow even stronger and more effective. Always remember that good teams want to know how good they are, and great teams want to know how to get better. You are all a great team. Build trust, respect each other, and there's no limit to where you can go. In closing, I present my final salute to you as a Swamp Fox Wing Commander. It has been my honor and privilege to serve with you, Semper Primus.
Thank you, Colonel Gandhi. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the official change of command. Attention to orders. Special Order Number G5SC. Under the provisions of AFI 51-604, Colonel Quaid H. Quadri assumes command of the 169th Fighter Wing, effective 11 September 2021, signed Major General R. Van McCarty, the Adjutant General, South Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated, and we're going to invite you to please direct your attention to the F-16 behind you. The aircraft's dedicated crew chief, Master Sergeant Scott Winters, will change the pilot's name that is emblazoned on the side of the jet, signifying today's change of command. Ladies and gentlemen, the new commander of the 169th Fighter Wing, Colonel Quadri.
It's only about 7 pages long. Sir, thank you for those words. Abu, thank you. It's good to be home. This is the most humbling, pausing moment. I've never been short for words in my life. Maybe once when I was getting married and when the kids were born. I think this is the only time in uniform it's happened. Everyone, Swamp Fox brothers and sisters, thank you for being here. Speak for a couple minutes and then we'll have another moment here. Thank you very much for being here. Our distinguished guests, generals, congressmen, thank you so much. Our civic leaders, thank you. It's pretty powerful. I know how valuable your time is. It's very meaningful to me and to the wing to have you here, and it's emblematic of our connection to our community and the power of the Swamp Fox. Thank you very much for your time. It's very humbling. Thank you again, as Abu mentioned, to the team that put all of this together. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you for the band, Nicole, protocol, comm, maintenance, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much for your work and effort. I appreciate that. I promise to be brief. Some of you know how difficult that is. Robo just illustrated it. The good news is I've been practicing, wrote it out, tried to cut it down, wrote it out, cut it down. And have been working on brevity for years. I will break from the script. In that IPUG 15 years ago, Robo's my instructor on my third ride. Q, that's a great flight, great brief. You say 3 words when one will do. Got to work on that. Still working on it. First and foremost, I need to thank my family. Jen, Carson, Maddie. Thank you does not capture in any way, shape, or form my appreciation for you, your undying support, your tolerance of my antics. You are the center of my world. You are the most important thing, and I thank you. Mom, Renee, Steve, obviously, thank you for a life of support and love. Obviously, none of us would be here without the power and support of our parents and the pestering and nagging that ultimately turns into love as we grow older with our siblings. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys making the drive. I know it's a fast turn, but it's pretty powerful to have you here today. Thank you. I think we have a moment coming up, and I'll just pause here. We have a couple minutes. I'll continue, and I'll try and then execute another moment of brevity. I want to thank we all are powerfully influenced by the people in our lives. I've been blessed my entire career with powerful mentors, big brothers and sisters that have shaped and developed me from high school through the academy. I need to thank them. General Pierce, sir, thanks for 11 years of mentorship, building, whether it was F-16 deployments, requirements, planning. One more time, thanks for engaging that very painful OG at Balad for me, was I got my rights read to me and kicked off the base. And then came back. It was fine. General Williams, Spade, Puff, Crab, Oscar, Robo, everything McEntire about me, you guys taught.
The time is now 9:37 a.m. American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon.
I'll continue. Oscar can't be here today, but Oscar, Robo, Crab, thanks for taking the fighter pilot to BLA and Jar Sheldon built and making him better. Thanks for saying yes to Pickle and letting me do my iPug here and teaching me how to be an instructor pilot. It's the thing I probably identify the most professionally is as an IP, and you guys built him. And I think we pass that on to the next generation, and I think we'll continue to do it. It's good to see SAC in the back, to see the student become the teacher, and that continue. Paps, Dolph, Abu, thank you for being phenomenal big brothers across this journey. Complete with beatdowns, pick-me-ups, insights. You always shared your path with us. You always made sure we were learning from your experiences so that we served the Swamp Fox. These airmen have never let you down. Neither will this one. I'd said it before. We all learned how to be Swamp Fox from you guys. We appreciate that. My Swamp Fox brothers and sisters that have been on this journey with me for 15 years. It's been amazing. I want to call out, I know I'll miss people, but from across the organization, Martina Borg, Mike Glenn, Scooter, my good friend Two-Line, Chuck Randall, the other quite not as handsome Q, Chief Q Quattlebaum, Christy Livermore. Thank you guys for all of our experiences together. My brothers in the squadron, Vito, Coolio, Chester, Tripp, Pieces, Kanga, thanks for being you. We got more to do. Men and women of the 169th Fighter Wing, my fellow Swamp Fox, number one, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service and all of the sacrifice that you have executed your entire careers and you will continue to execute, whether or not it's overseas or inside of our community, or just making the legacy of the Swamp Fox continue and investing in our airmen. My first ask of you as your wing commander is to, as Abu said, please go home tonight or tomorrow night when you return from drill and thank your families for me for their service and sacrifice. All of us are enabled by them, and they serve just as much as we do. As we gather on a Saturday, 20 years separated from September 11th, 2001, as we have been, we remember our nation called us to serve. You've answered that call with pride, competence, and distinction. Our nation will call again. It is only a matter of time. The security environment is changing for us, whether it's Afghanistan to the Pacific, in domains and arenas we haven't thought about before: space, cyber, information. When that call comes, we will be contested all the way from leaving McEntire to our deployed airbase and to the front edge of the battle space in a way that we've never seen before. We each have a critical role to play. We cannot fail, and I know that we will not. Our job as a whole is to be ready. Your job is to be lethal and be resilient. I'll make you two promises. Your commanders and I will violently remove the barriers that stand in your way. The second is that I will hold myself and you accountable to our Swamp Fox standards. They have served us well, and they will continue to do so. I do have a second ask of you today, and that is to embrace the pride, the virtue, and the responsibility of being a Swamp Fox. We are part of something meaningful here. We are a force for good in this world. We are a very large, diverse, multifaceted, sometimes a little bit dysfunctional family. Right? It doesn't matter. We are all the same. Men, women, ethnic backgrounds, ages, active, guard, civilian, part-time, full-time. We are all Swamp Fox. Our power doesn't actually come from those jets. It comes from us. It comes from you. It's through us comes our legacy of excellence. And most importantly, our resilience together. In our lives, we will each encounter seemingly unsurmountable challenges. Individually, we will succumb to them. Together, we will conquer any of those feats and will cherish the experience doing it together. I am proud to be a Swamp Fox. I am 100% dedicated to you. Enough talk. That nation is about ready to call. We've got work to do.
Thank you, Colonel Quadri. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. I would be remiss if I did not invite you to join me in applauding our friends from the 246th Army Band. Everyone is invited to come forward and greet our new 169th Fighter Wing Commander and his family. Please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party. Thank you for attending. Have a wonderful day.